We're going to
It
introduce
is.
somebody that is making a lot of news today, this Wednesday afternoon, a gorgeous day in the state of Iowa. Somebody that you and I know very well, actually.
Absolutely. Good
Nathan
friend.
Sage. Nathan Sage is running for the U.S. Senate. He'll be running against Joni Ernst in 2026. Obviously, we'll have the Democratic primary before that. But Nathan Sage, welcome to Iowa Revolution. In fact, if you've been a long-time listener, you've heard his name probably at least a dozen times. And I know Nathan is a listener, so yeah, I'm sure his ears have been burning many times.
Yeah, I think, first of all, thanks for having me. And second of all, you know how many times I've listened to you guys and been screaming at my speakers, being like, no, or saying what I want to, like I want you guys to say. So yeah, it's an honor to be here with two of my best friends. So.
And it really is honestly two of my best friends, if not my two closest friends in the world. Dr. Bob and I go back about 18 years. Nathan, you and I and Dr. Bob, we all met at the radio station, KNIA KRLS in Knoxville. And you started off in the overnight position. In fact, I was your boss, the program director there. And you worked your way up from the overnight position, started to do more sports. Then you moved to evenings. And then eventually you moved into the news position. And then you moved on to sales as well. So you had done it all in the radio business, and we really do go back till 2016, I think 9 years.
Yeah, it seems like a lifetime ago. But yeah, I remember my first time with the radio station, getting hired and then going, you got to meet with Spencer Dirks on June 1st of 2016. And I was like, okay, hopefully he's cool. And turns out, luckily you are. So here we are.
So yeah, I'm going to ask you. So I'm going to ask you the toughest question. So you had me and Dr. Bob as your boss and coworker, at least at some point during your career in radio. Who was the better boss?
Whew, that's hard. That is hard because Spencer, you guided me on how to talk properly on the radio. Dr. Bob, you guided me on how to not be an idiot and how to write properly. You really helped me write the right way. So I think honestly, both of you guys it's equal. It's hard to differentiate. I can't say that word.
We still need to work on that part.
yeah, talking is still hard. So obviously you didn't do a good job, Spencer. So Dr. Bob, you're the winner.
So not only did we, work together, but we also hosted a show together, Nathan.
Yes, and we have
2 years, the Jeremy Dingham and Concrete Football Friday Night Radio Preview Show. And I did want to talk a little bit about that because even in this media blitz that we're going to kind of talk with you through later on while we have you, by the way, welcome everybody that's joined us live so far. We have 19 live viewers. And again, we have Nathan Sage, candidate for the U.S. Senate race in 2026. He's running in the Democratic primary against Joni Ernst. But you did come up as you wanted to be a sports announcer, and you eventually did accomplish that goal and were a sports broadcaster. In fact, called a state championship game for the PCM Mustangs. But yeah, just kind of talk about your love of sports and how that led you through your career.
Yeah, it's weird because I grew up playing sports. I umpired as youth, and for me it was like I just always knew, like you, Spencer. I knew weird factoids. I always just followed that. It was like this nerdy little thing for me that I loved, and I wanted to that's actually how I got into radio and did everything. Is I talked to my mom and I said, I don't know if I should re-enlist and stay in the military or get out. And she said, you need to follow a passion. And so I figured, let's follow sports. Sports is my passion, and that's what's boom, started the door and started guiding me to where I am now, which is weird. I started out as a sports duber, and now here I am as a politician. So, yeah, I loved my time doing play-by-play. I absolutely loved it. I love doing the show with you. I had a lot of fun doing it. It's probably one of the funnest times of my life, but greater callings and better opportunities now. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, and you're now the executive director of the Knoxville Chamber of Commerce. And by the way, sports duber is a Dr. Bobism, so that's where that comes from. But you mentioned your experience in the military. You grew up in Mason City, Iowa, up in north central Iowa, of course. But then pretty soon after you graduated, you were set and off and joining the military. What was your reasoning behind that?
Growing up in a poor background and watching my family struggle to survive, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to go to college. I knew that my options were limited. I knew that the opportunities for me were limited, and I figured the only way I could potentially do something great is to find another path. And I was able to get with join the United States Marine Corps in 2003. Yeah, I did go to Iraq twice, and that was the funnest of times. But in general, it helped me become the person I am, gain a lot of confidence in who I am, and an ability to talk, an ability to present myself in a manner that needs to be. And I think that's what helped me start that path to where I am now, where I have the confidence I have now to talk and meet with people and not stray away from conversations.
Thanks again to Nathan Sage joining us here on Iowa Revolution here on Substack Live. Thanks to everybody that's joined us so far, 28 viewers. And Dr. Bob, go ahead and kind of take it away here, because you guys have been working over the past month or so on this, campaign. And I mean, kind of just what has this media blitz, how is getting all that stuff lined up? I mean, obviously you've got some experience with that. I'm sure, obviously both you and Nathan have experience doing that, but I'm sure it kind of helps guide you through this process of just how busy everything is and how many people you have to talk to.
Well, yeah, one of the things I want to clear up there is Nathan also served a third term in Iraq in the Army, and that wasn't mentioned. But yeah, it's been very interesting. We really started this campaign, in December, putting together the pieces. We've got a great team, a lot of people that we've talked to that were just very interested in Nathan and what he had to offer. And so over the last few months, just as the team has grown to include people with a lot of different campaign experiences that really had, have all kinds of knowledge that we don't have and wouldn't have access to. They've run some very successful campaigns in the past, and they just believe in Nathan. He's got the right story, the right time. He's the person that Iowans need to represent us, and there's there's lots of problems with Joni Ernst, but I don't want to talk about Joni Ernst in the sense that people know there's problems with her. What I think it's important to do is to stress Nathan's strengths and what he brings. And what he brings is a lot of hard work, lived experience that reflects the values of Iowans. And so to me, that's what we need. And I don't see a lot of people in Congress that express our values. I also don't see a lot of people, and also in the Iowa legislature, on the Republican side of things, they don't have our values. They don't work for us. They aren't interested in working for us. They're interested in dividing, not uniting us. And I think Nathan's experience is invaluable. I think that as a rural Iowan that grew up poor, I think that that's an experience that makes you able to understand everybody. If you've never been hungry, if you've never been poor, if you don't know where your family's next meal is coming from, you don't have that same kind of knowledge that Nathan does. And so it's just pretty darn remarkable, and he's the man of the hour.
One thing that obviously as this campaign gets off the ground is you need more supporters, and you also need fundraising. You need money. So as we, we'll repeat this kind of as we move along, but as we've got 34 people here now, Nathan, how can people reach out to your campaign and become involved?
SageForSenate.com. There's a place you can go right through our website. There's a place to donate, and there's a place to volunteer. Like you said, Spencer, we need everything and everybody. So it's going to take a team effort. It's going to take a lot of people to get behind me and do this. And I think we can do it. I'm very, very excited to not go around and talk to people, but listen to people and understand what people are going through throughout the state. That's what I'm more interested in, is just sitting down and listening to what people are going through, what we can do from a federal level to fix problems. So we need volunteers. We need donations. SageForSenate.com is the place to go.
SageForSenate.com. And I'll get on my soapbox for a minute too here on Nathan, Dr. Bob, because like I said, he is one of my best friends in the world. You guys are both pretty much my best friends. We go back 9 years. He's the most honest, forthright person I've ever met in my entire life. Obviously, when you work in radio, it can be a hectic environment sometimes, and he rolled with every single one of the punches that we ever put him through, and he responded with grace to everything that we ever asked him to do. So he's the kind of, I'm honestly getting kind of emotional talking about it, just because I'm so proud of you, and and I guess here's my next question. Well, I'll get back on my soapbox here in a minute, but here's my next question is, Dr. Bob kind of approached you with this proposition of, hey, I think you might be a person that would fit this, what we're looking for. You took that information, and how did you respond? What was your thought process, and then and ultimately, why did you decide to say yes and run?
Oh man, you're talking about getting emotional. For me, it's like, yeah, I sat there for a long time and was like, I'm just Nathan. Like I'm just Nathan, right? And I thought about it for a long time and reached out to family members, reached out to a lot of friends, talked to you, Spencer. I talked to everybody, and the one that pushed me the most was my wife. So my wife Amanda we were the story I say is we were sitting at, it was true, we were sitting at IHOP. It was like January 3rd or 4th, and I'm playing on my phone, whatever, and she just goes, "You talk about helping people all the time. You talk about how hard life is and how it shouldn't be this way. You talk about the things that need to be done all the time. You have very good ideas, and now you have this opportunity in front of you. You have a golden ticket." I said, "Golden ticket?" She's like, "Yeah, like Willy Wonka. You have a golden ticket." And I said, "Okay." And she's like, "You know how hard I had it growing up, which she had a very hard childhood, and I know I've heard how hard it was for you. And again, you talk about how it shouldn't be this way. We're the richest country in the world. There's absolutely no reason it should be this way." And she goes, "If not you, then who?" Right? And she's like, "So I think that you'd be really good at it." And I was like, "Wait a minute, here it comes." And she goes, "I think you should do it." And for me, it was like, yeah, like for the longest time, like I said, I sat there and I was like, why me? Why me? Why me? And then it was just, why not me? Why not somebody from the working class who knows what it's like to go through every day, struggle every day as a kid, not be able to afford anything, be made fun of for the clothes you wear because you can't afford anything else. Understand that you're always going against the doctor's kid. You're always going against someone who has a lot of money, and you're trying to find a path. Why not? And I feel like there's a lot of people that are like me that resonate with me and understand what it's like to go through life like this. And so I think that, you know, for me, it was like, yeah, like if not me, who? If not now, when? And so let's do it. And um, you know, going to Iraq 3 times, I walked 10 seconds slower, I wouldn't be here. I got a rocket land behind me, and I know that this isn't going to kill me. I know that for me, it's like I know life is a lot harder for a lot of people than talking to a camera and talking to people. And if I can stand up for them and fight for them and try to bring some unity to some people instead of this constant division, why not me? So that's why ultimately it was like, you know what? I feel like there's a greater calling. Sometimes you got to stand up and fight for what you believe in. And I did that when I was in the military. Why not do it now?
And this is the Iowa Revolution podcast. Nathan Sage is running for U.S. Senate. He's the current executive director of the Knoxville Chamber of Commerce and also a longtime friend of both me and Dr. Bob. Worked at the radio station KNIA KRLS in Knoxville for a long time. And Dr. Bob, I think it's great that Nathan brings up that it really, politicians all the time bring up, oh, I'm going on a listening tour. That's another thing about Nathan is I don't know a better listener. In our friend group, he's the guy that people go to vent and to because they know he'll listen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, and also the thing is that Nathan's not going to blow smoke. He's not going to BS anybody. And to come up with the best policies that we need the input of the people of Iowa, not the input of the Heritage Foundation or some liberal think tank. It's something that we need to, to construct. And one of the things that I liked that he says is that whenever there's going to be a negotiation or policy being built, there'll be workers at the table. And that doesn't happen now. There's only billionaires at the table now and maybe a few millionaires, but the regular people. Do you think that there's ever been, let's say, a conversation about legislation, let's just say to construction work, which is how I grew up doing construction work. Do you think there's ever been a carpenter at the table when the legislation was being considered? They don't put a carpenter at the table. And not having been a carpenter, I know some of the rules, some of the laws that they created put us at greater risk of injury. because they've never stepped on a job site. And so that's why whenever, he's talking about manufacturing, talking about farming, there's always going to be a farmer, a steel worker, whoever, somebody's going to be at that table to talk about the real life implications of that legislation. They will be at that table. And that's one of the things I like that Nathan's doing.
One of the biggest things I respect, and again, this is the Iowa Revolution podcast. Nathan Sage is our guest today, a close friend of both me and Dr. Bob, running for U.S. Senate against Joni Ernst in 2026. But one of the other things I like about you is a lot of Democrats right now are kind of frustrated with people not having a backbone and just not standing up. And you are the kind of person that I know will stand up for my interests and the interest of people that are like me in this state that are fed up with this crap.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you and Dr. Bob have all been witness to me going on tangents and rambling about being angry about stuff and not feeling like we have anybody that actually represents us or speaks on the things that we're speaking. It seems like a lot of the things that we get from politicians lately, especially in the working classes, we're working for you and we're going to do this for you and we're going to do this for you, but they don't actually know, like Dr. Bob said, they don't actually understand what it is that we need. They just assume because they don't want to take the time to learn and understand. And you guys know me. I'm not the guy that has all the answers, but I'm smart enough to put myself surrounded by people like you, people like farmers and construction workers and everybody, to bring them together and to figure it out. And I think by doing that, not just fixing policies on that, but it also gets rid of some of the division that we have going on in politics to begin with. Like when the right and the left can sit down with me and we can actually talk about what we need to do to get things done, I think that's going to bode so much better for the working class and working class Iowans than anybody else coming through and just saying, this is what I see we need to do. Well, you might see that, but that might not be the right answer. So you need to listen to people and get the right answer.
So first of all, thank you so much for giving us the time. You are busy as hell right now, Nathan. We've seen all sorts of articles, videos, interviews with you drop since this morning when you officially announced your candidacy. So just describe this last, 24 hours of, going through all these interviews and then just kind of releasing this on the world.
Crazy. So while I'm talking to you right now, like my phone is literally going bloop, 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 with people that are trying to connect with me, trying to send me friend requests, trying to send me messages, emails. My operations director, Nash, is getting nonstop text messages and calls as well, which we knew that was going to happen when you run for something like this, and especially when you're unknown as much as people don't know who I am as much. So we knew that. It's actually been kind of fun at the same time because talking to people that you don't ever get to talk to and seeing their reaction. Like we did an interview with a TV up in Waterloo earlier, and he was kind of like generally believed like, oh, like it's a fresh take. It's fresh to see somebody talk about these things the way that you talk about them. And it seems like, when I'm talking to these people that I have never met in my life, and just to see the reaction on camera or even hear them on the phone, it's kind of interesting because it's like, I don't feel like I'm saying anything crazy. I feel like I'm just kind of saying what needs to be said, and what people aren't used to hearing is the thing that I'm getting. And it's been a lot. It's been a lot nonstop. I've made a lot of phone calls. I've sat on my phone all night last night as well, and I'll probably do that again today. But it's worth it. You know what I mean? The more we can get the message out, the more we can let people know what I'm trying to do and understand more about me. I feel like that will bring more people together and more people on this train, and hopefully Joni can stand off the tracks when the train's coming through.
So again, what's the website people can go to if they do want to volunteer, if they want to donate money, which is obviously really what we need at this point for your campaign?
Yep, sageforsenate.com is the place to be. You can learn more about me, you can donate, and you can volunteer all right there by clicking through.
Dr. Bob, do you have any questions? I feel like I'm leaving you out here so far. I'm just excited. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm smiling ear to ear. The people that are watching obviously can, but thanks to the 54 people that are watching so far.
I'm just enjoying watching Dr. Bob's glistening head in the light.
So
do you have anything to add, Dr. Bob? Because I can just continue on. This is, I can talk with Nathan all day.
No, I've got something to say. I forgot to bring my makeup artist to powder my head. But
That's right. Yeah.
no, the thing is that democracy is in crisis. That we've got uh, we've got an authoritarian who wants to make America and the world his playground, to impose cruelty on us all, like a nasty middle school boy that likes to torture animals. That's what he's doing to us. And the pain is, and the cruelty is part of the point. And there's a whole lot of people in the Republican Party that fear him. They fear his retribution. And the thing is that, and you notice he's coming after the law firms, after the universities, and people are starting to learn that it's never going to end. He's coming after our history. He's coming after women. He's coming after minorities. He's coming after everybody. And what happens is some people fold, like Columbia University folded, lawyers fold, but there's never enough. He'll want more and more of the institution or of us. And so the time to fight was months ago. And what we have to do is recognize that he wants us in fear. He wants us powerless. He wants us to be grateful for any scraps he throws at us. And we aren't powerless unless we give him that power. We have to resist. And the way that we resist is you put it all on the table like Nathan has done. Run for office. But the rest of us aren't powerless either, because we can be a part of it. We just have to recognize what part of it we want to be. And so we can say, oh, I don't have any money. So maybe you can write letters, maybe you can talk to your friends, maybe you can volunteer and do this, that, or the other, something that you're particularly good at and that you find joy in helping. And maybe you've got, money, and then you can donate. So whatever you can do it, because you can resist. We have to resist, and we will not yield. The big law firms will yield. The institutions will yield. A whole lot of people are going to yield, but the only defense that exists in democracy, in saving our democracy, and in saving lives and livelihoods, because they're destroying lives all over the world by, withholding U.S. Aid from other countries. They're opening the door for China. He's doing Putin's bidding. He may want to purposefully destroy the economy, so when everything falls apart, he and his billionaire buddies can pick up the scraps for pennies on the dollar. We have to assume the worst case scenario from him. But if we stand up, if we do something, if we stand together and do not yield to an authoritarian regime that wants to make us their groveling servants, we aren't going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Spencer, you're not going to do that, and Nathan Sage isn't going to do it. And Nathan Sage has taken on the big job, and so we all have to take on the smaller jobs, but also important jobs of standing with Nathan Sage and other people like him. The Democrats, as many problems as there are, they are starting to stand up. And so all together, we do it together, we do it arm in arm, and we're going to go kick some authoritarian asses, beginning with Joni Ernst.
I love it. You are listening to the Iowa Revolution podcast. That's revolutionary talk right there, Dr. Bob. We have Nathan Sage on the show. He's running for U.S. Senate against Joni Ernst in 2026. Obviously, you've got the Democratic primary before that. That election, the 2026 general election, isn't until November of 2026, so a year and a half away from that. So still have a long ways to go here, Nathan. What do the next few months look like for you in terms of your schedules and where people might be able to see you out and about?
Well, first of all, we're going to have our kickoff party at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame Museum here in Knoxville on May 5th. We're trying to get as many people to pack that place as possible and just have a good time together. After that, May is going to be a hit the ground running. We got a lot of places to go across the state already: North Iowa, West Iowa, East Iowa, all over the state, and we're looking for more. So someone listens to this and they're wanting to get connected with us and have us, be there and have me speak or have me listen to everybody, reach out to us, reach out to the campaign, message us and we'll figure it out and we'll make it happen. Because like I said, I want to talk to everybody. And the only way you can talk to everybody is by talking to everybody. So you got to get out there and show yourself. And that's what I'm going to be doing. It's going to be a busy next few months / year and a half, but it's going to be worth it, especially if we can get to the point where we can go one-on-one with Joni and have the conversations that we need to have and hopefully come out on top and maybe make the state a little bluer.
By the way, we do have a factoid of the week and a top 5 today, so make sure you stay tuned for that. That's coming up here pretty soon. This is the Iowa Revolution podcast. Spencer Dirks alongside Dr. Bob Leonard, welcoming Nathan Sage, running for U.S. Senate for the state of Iowa. He is the current executive director of the Knoxville Chamber of Commerce. We can't let you go, Nathan, without, I know you as a wife guy. Like, you are a family man through and through. If there's any, Nathan is known as being like the family guy. Am I right, Dr. Bob?
Absolutely.
You and Amanda have been together for about as long as you and I have known each other. I think maybe 10-ish years you guys have been together. And then you also have 2 daughters as well.
Yeah. My wife, you're going to make me emotional. Yeah. Anyway, my wife is my rock. She's the reason I do everything. She's the one who pushed me to do this. She's my biggest support system. She's the love of my life. My kids, I can't believe I got a 17-year-old, going to be soon to be 18-year-old. I feel like an old man. My daughter Bailey, and then my youngest Kylie. She's in my video. She was excited to be a part of this. She wants everybody to know what I'm doing and is excited to support me. So yeah, the biggest thing about this, and this is also why Dr. Bob and me had this conversation as well, was making sure that I stay grounded to who I am and with my family. And that's the number one thing for me is that's what I care about. I'm not just doing this to benefit Iowans and to be a politician and get out here. I know it's going to benefit my family's life as well. And I know that I wouldn't be able to do it without them by my side. So the only way I could do it is with them supporting it. So yeah, my wife is my rock, and yeah, I can't talk about more. You'll make me cry like a little girl. So stop.
All right,
watch out. Dr. Bob's going to really try to make you cry.
There you go. Lay it on thick, Dr. Bob.
Yeah, this is what I do. I know of no man who is more openly adoring of his wife than Nathan Sage.
She's hot.
Seriously. Seriously, he is the definition of a wife guy. And Amanda is fantastic, and I'm sure people will get a chance to meet her and your family, kind of as they get out of school, your kids, of course, and kind of touring the state throughout the summer, checking out the county fairs and all that sort of stuff, which you're used to checking out county fairs with the radio station.
Yeah. And it's like the way I look at it is like I'm going to go do some play-by-play again. I'm just going to go find this area, find this spot, and set up and start going. So,
are you guys ready for the factoid of the week?
Sure.
I guess. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. The factoid of the week this week: 35 Marines. Nathan is a Marine. 35 Marines have served in the U.S. Senate. The last one elected was J.D. Vance. The eye roll. In case you're listening and not watching, that was a clear eye roll from Nathan. By the way, one Democrat, Dick Blumenthal from Connecticut, and then 2 Republicans are currently serving in the U.S. Senate as Marines.
The only thing I can say to that is, maybe I one day can be like him and break the college football trophy as well for Ohio State, because that'd be great to smash, but it is what it is.
You wouldn't break it. You'd handle that with aplomb.
Yeah, well, if it's for Ohio State, I might throw it, but
that's true.
We can never get anybody else there, it'd be fine, but Ohio State.
And that's funny because you're an Iowa fan. He's from Ohio, so he actually broke his own team's trophy. Not just the visiting team. It's his own state's
Poetic
team.
Justice. Yeah. Poetic justice is what that is.
Absolutely. Dr. Bob, anything else? Well, I do have the top 5 that we'll get to here in a second, but anything else while we have Nathan here this afternoon?
No, I just wish him the best of luck. I hope that everybody gets on board. You can all be part of the team. Nathan Sage. No, what's the URL again?
SageForSenate.com.
Sage for Senate. Yeah, just go there and lean into it, help out, be a part of it. And so when your kids and grandkids say, when Trump and Musk came for our democracy, you can, and they ask, what did you do? You can tell them exactly what you did. You wrote letters, you donated, whatever. You were part of Team Nathan Sage that kicked Joni Ernst's fascist ass.
So yeah, to help fundraise, if you have some cash that you'd like to donate, if you'd like to volunteer or just to kind of keep updated on the campaign, sageforsenate.com. That's SAGE, sageforsenate.com. Here's the top 5 this week. Top 5 things you say to a guy when he walks in a bar. And feel free to add any as they come along. Number 5, here comes trouble. That's what Dr. Bob gets wherever he walks in.
Maybe
Coffee
if you had a few
shop.
drinks. Yeah.
Here comes trouble.
No, here shuffles in trouble.
Number 4.
No, I'm not trouble. I'm just this side of it.
That's fair. That's true.
Yep.
Yeah, not a lengthy prison record or anything like that. This also applies to you, Dr. Bob, I think. Number 4 is the man, the myth, the legend.
No, not true.
Yeah, you are. Every time you walk in the door, you can see your head get bigger.
Yep. This one applies to both of you. Number 3 is, who let this guy in here?
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of that right now.
Yeah, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Number 2, speak of the devil.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Yep.
And number 1, the classic, there he is.
There's the guy.
There he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way,
That's a good
69
one.
viewers right now on our Substack Live. That's a very nice number. Thanks to everybody that has tuned in this afternoon. This Substack Live with Senate candidate Nathan Sage running on the Democratic ticket here in the primary. By the way, when is the primary, Nathan?
Should be in June, I believe.
Okay, so it's coming.
Yeah. We got time. You got time to see me, time to meet me, time to let me hear what you have to say. Like I said, it's not about me talking, it's about me listening. So if you have a chance to come out, check our website out and see where we're going to be. We'll update that all the time with all the places we're going to be. Come out and, even if you want to yell at me, I'll take that too. But it takes.
Yeah, let out your frustrations on Nathan. That'll be good.
Yeah. Tough love is what I'm used to. I was a Marine. That's okay. I'm used to getting.
Yeah, you're used to being yelled at. So yeah. You'll be fine.
Including by me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's the thing. I wasn't a yeller. I heard Dr. Bob get a little bit upset sometimes with you, Nathan. Sometimes he had a punctuation mark in the wrong place.
Yeah. Sometimes but he did make me a better writer, and he'll take credit for that all day long. And then he tells the story that I went to sales and then I went back to news, and he had to teach me again. So he has to take as much credit as possible. So
he lost 10 IQ points in sales.
I know, that's what happens. You probably literally did have to just teach him the alphabet again.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a real pleasure, guys. I mean, I still am sort of in shock. But thanks again to Nathan Sage, friend of both me and Dr. Bob. Obviously, we'll have you back on as this process continues, and can't wait to see you again, man. And best of luck. I'm just proud of you.
This feels like just hanging out with two of my friends, so I'm glad to do it anytime. I was excited to be able to be on it because I've been wanting to be on for a while because you mentioned my name so much. But I'll do it again anytime, and I appreciate you guys. Love you.
Yeah, so we can finally put a face with the name for a lot of our listeners and viewers. So yeah, thanks again to Nathan Sage, Dr. Bob. Pleasure as always, and we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah, see ya. Thank you, everybody.